Okay, we're back in with the Dodge Challenger. As in the previous video you saw that there were quite a lot of sprues. You can see that that's been thinned down drastically. As you can see, that's what we've got left there, and this is all with a bit of pre-assembly of components. So we've got on this sprue here, for example, is only the door mirror is going to be used, not the rear spoiler. I think that's where the bonnet was, which is over there, which I want to spray separately to make sure I get that back edge, which is where it was connected. This is all that remains of one of the other sprues, which is part of the exhaust system. So this one, this one, this one and this one are pretty much the only full sprues left out of the 8 or 9 that were in there originally. Over here we've got the base, the floor pan of the car with the wheels that have been stripped of the chrome. Over here we've got the tub with the rear seat fitted, if we can get that to focus for you. It's got the rear seat fitted, the front seats fitted, the central control console and the bulkhead which houses the part of the braking system that hopefully you can see there. So that's had a bit of sub-assembly. This is the engine, which has had quite a lot of parts assembled onto it to complete the engine, and this is almost completed barring the front work, which has all the belts and pulleys and such like, and this is able to be sprayed and various bits masked off and various bits touched up with a brush by hand later. Got the bonnet on its own, and then here we've got the body shell, which has a couple of bits up inside the roof added on, and then it has the rear bumper and the front bumper, and as you can see it looks much more car-like already. So that's where we are at the moment. The next step is going to be to prime all of this and get this prepped ready for a top coat for the body shell, and then I will probably do the body shell and then detail the engine, and then start looking at doing the central tub here, because once I've done that I can add the door cards on after they've been painted up as well, and the dashboard that you see there and what have you. It's easier to leave those off and put them on after they've been painted. It's basically a case of using a bit of common sense when you build one of these models and look at the bits that you can assemble first that aren't going to get in the way of painting other bits and detail bits. So for example, I could have put those door cards on, but it would have made the painting of the interior a little trickier down the edges of the seats, for example. So if I paint all that up first, and then I can get a bit more sub-assembly done, and then that can be fitted into the body tub, then the rest of it is engine chassis detail work. So the build should progress reasonably quickly from here. You'll see here the body tub, which has been primed with Humbrol No. 1 grey primer. The whole thing, the whole model, including all of these bits that you see here, try and sort of get out of the light so you can see them as well as you can. These are the wheels which have been stripped to the kit chrome and primed. Then you've got the sort of inner body tub, which is largely assembled, including the bulkhead minus the dashboard and the side panels, which are there. Which are going to require painting before they're fitted, to make sure I can get to everything. There's the floor pan, and there's the engine and transmission, engine and gearbox as we would say in the UK, and then we've got the rest of the sprues down here with the radiator, the drive shaft, the front running gear suspension units, parts of the exhaust, rear spoiler, which I'm actually not going to use because, having checked reference pictures of my friend's car, theirs does not have one. Disc brakes, exhaust parts, radiator parts and so on, all primed in Humbrol grey matte enamel No. 1, which is a grey primer, which can be used as a grey primer, or it can be used to just replicate a grey primer, and the steering wheel there incidentally. And I find Humbrol enamel matte paints to be great primers anyway, and I tend to use the colour depending on the top coat. If I'm doing a very, very pale colour, I tend to use white, Humbrol matte white as a primer. The problem when you're doing that is if you've got a white plastic kit, it can be a real pain in the backside to see how well you're coating it. But the grey is very good all over one, and everything's been primed, but the body tub and the bonnet have been flattered after they've cured for 48 hours with some 6000 grit micro mesh. I think they're called micro mesh sanding sheets, which I picked up off eBay a while ago. They go right up as high as 24,000 grit, I think. Really fine, and they're like polishing sheets rather than sanding sheets as such. But using a 6000 grit, I've flattered the whole body shell down just very gently, because it's so easy to wear through the thin layers that you spray onto these, to make sure that I get a nice top coat. And the top coat that's going on it, which happens to be the closest to the original colour, it's more of a silver grey, whereas this has got a hint of blue to it, although the cap colour I think is a little bit misleading. I don't know how well this is going to show on video, but it looks kind of like this colour. I'm just going to switch to macro mode and hopefully get a better view of that. I don't think that's going to come across as particularly clear, unfortunately, but it doesn't show the blue as evidently as it looks on the cap. So I'm thinking that might actually be quite a good colour match, because the other silvers that I have are either too pale, they're like an alloy silver, or they're too dark like a gunmetal silver. And this particular tin here is one that I picked up from a clearance. It's a Humbrol 395 labelled Car Metallic, and I picked it up from a clearance bucket at a shop ages and ages ago, because I thought it was quite a nice colour. And it's probably the nearest colour I can find to the Challenger metallic grey. So thanks for watching so far. I hope you're enjoying it. If you are, please check back for updates, and don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. Thank you very much.